It's sakura season in Japan. That means cherry blossoms are in bloom in at least the southern half where I am. So probably tomorrow we'll get some good video of that. I do that once a year. There was one year where they were only out for a day and there was a massive rainstorm and killed them all, and that was it. Sucked. Anyway, cherry blossoms. I'd recommend coming during this season. They usually last a few weeks, but you can't right now because of Rona. I know a lot of people forgot about Rona, but there are still places that have travel restrictions, and this is one of them. Can't come in. No foreigners allowed. It's kind of like Israel. If you're not belonging to the self-proclaimed chosen race of God, you can't go there.
Yeah. Ooh, my audio is a bit hot, so I'm gonna change. We're gonna go to 83. Okay, better. Yes. Do you want to do the things we were supposed to talk about yesterday with Ron Perlman and
Yeah,
stuff?
that's what I'm going to talk about. Yep, with Exxon and all the rest of it.
Okay.
I do
Well,
want to mention first, I got a couple announcements. I'm going to be on Sean Atwood's show tonight, I guess, whatever it is, 8 p.m. UK time. It's going to be 4 a.m. here, Isashi Budi. And we're going to be talking about, he wants me to talk about Hunter's laptop and Peter Nygaard, both. But I think I get a full hour. And I don't know if that's like half on YouTube, half on Patreon. But if it's half on YouTube, I'm just talking about Japan and stuff because I'm like, look, man, I can't like those two topics. What am I supposed to say? All of it is censorable, right? It's just full of rape and drugs and just debauchery. What am I supposed to do? So I don't know. It's up to him. Once I get off YouTube and on his Patreon, I can take the gloves off a little. I feel like I already did do a show on Nygaard. There's not a lot of updates to that other than, he's it looks like they want to prosecute him on some of his charges in Canada first, and then he could be extradited and charged lap on some more years in the US. I don't know the point. I mean, he's going to get life in prison and he's 80, so do you really need 3 life sentences or whatever, Um, it would be funny for him to be in a US jail instead of a Canadian jail because he wouldn't last very long. Anyway, but the Hunter laptop, I do have some serious updates for that, and I kind of hinted at it in the Substack article I wrote today. If you haven't seen that, it's definitely worth a gander. Got into oligarchs, and I think the title was like, why would a Jewish president and prime minister work with neo-Nazis? Because I've heard that question asked sincerely probably 50 times. Like, well, why? Isn't he Jewish? Why do they have Nazis? So I answered that. That's like being baffled. Like, why does Israel work with Al Qaeda in Saudi Arabia? Don't Jews and Muslims hate each other? No. See, that's not what it's about. Zionists are selfish, psychotic pricks that work for their own personal commercial interests that have a religious theme that they figured out, oh, if I wave my hands around and yell anti-Semite, I can shut down the left and the right. Because you scream racism, the left shuts down. You attach yourself to Christianity, the right shuts down. So they're able to do whatever they want. And that's about as deep as their sincerity goes. They're just a bunch of plutocrats helping the kleptocrats. So
yeah,
anyway,
they're opportunists, and they figured out where their opportunities lie, and exploited that system to the
we stole
full
nuclear weapons.
yeah to the
Yeah,
fullest
a lot of
extent.
people realized if you want to get away with the crime, just involve the Israelis, and the U.S. will look the other way. Like, just make sure you incorporate some Israelis somewhere in your operation.
Yeah, well, even if
And that's
you're
what the communist Chinese did that when they were getting arms for drugs. They just made sure Jewish gangsters were involved. The FBI didn't want to see it. They knew it.
yes, and well, like if you get caught, you will eventually get a pardon from Trump, especially if you're
Or whoever.
Jewish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll right. Well, they'll. That's every president. Every president since JFK
Yeah, I
died.
just remember that one story about the guy who sold K2 or spice, who was an Orthodox Jew, and he got a pardon, and that really
Yeah,
annoyed
Bill
me.
Clinton pardoned
Mark
Pincus
Rich,
Green and Mark Rich
yeah,
and Pincus Green, two Epstein mappers. I think it's funny, uh, in a little sly way that I like. Yeah, they're on a map now, that kind of map. Now all
yes,
these perverts are on their own map. It's like a crime map.
yeah,
But boy, that map could get bigger and bigger. You have to stop it at some point. But like Jean-Luc Brunel's got his own little map, right? Obviously, he's tied to Maxwell um, and Epstein, but he's tied to a bunch of these oligarchs in Ukraine. And I've talked about it, but never sat and just talked about it. I kind of did with that guy Fred. For about half hour, I talked about Brunel and his human trafficking out of Ukraine directly to Israel. It wasn't just like Epstein; like they were getting girls for brothels in Israel. And you know what else I talked about it with was Dr. House. But I can't really go point to that interview for most people, just because of who I was talking to. But anyway, I might go over some of that stuff again if you ask me about Brunel. It's going to dovetail with Hunter anyway, because he was also Burisma Holdings was owned by Ihor Kolomoisky, and through a series of front companies and stuff. But I dug that up, and fortunately, the Anti-Corruption Action Center and the some groups that follow organized crime already dug up a lot of stuff. And if you know what you're looking for, it wasn't so hard to connect the dots. And that's all in a kind of lengthy article on Substack today. There'll be a part 2 about the Pandora Papers that I didn't feel like doing because I have to stay up till 4 a.m. to do this Atwood show. So I was like, I'll do this later.
all right.
Anyway, we had a bunch of news. We had a bunch of news items. You want to talk about Bitcoin's
Oh,
bump
I was.
or Exxon gas?
Can,
Or what do you want to start with?
I want to play Ron Perlman first.
Oh, fuck. Okay, fine.
Okay.
They don't say gay.
Yeah. So just give me a little bit of time here as I.
Perlman. Is
Yes.
that a Presbyterian name? Is that a
Yes.
Presbyterian surname? Yeah, right.
So now you have his wonderful face in chat. Everyone can admire it, and let's hear what he has to say.
Good morning, Governor DeSantis. Ron here. Don't say gay. Don't say as the first 2 words in a sentence spoken by a political leader of a state in the United States of America. Don't say. Don't fucking say, you fucking Nazi pig. Say.
Here we go.
First Amendment. Read about it. Then run for office. You piece of shit.
Okay, that's it. I'm sorry. It's so silly.
Okay. I mean, that is a celebrity reacting to their own bullshit.
Yes, and yeah, it's like because how can we
There is
explain
no
this?
"don't say gay" bill.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. It's not it's not illegal to say gay in Florida schools. I'm sure some of the kids say gay all the time, calling the teachers gay or the homework gay. There's a lot of things
Just
they
walking down the
call
hallway going gay.
gay. But the reason he's so upset and called DeSantis a Nazi pig is because of a law in Florida that restricts the teaching of sexual subjects to children from kindergarten up to 3rd grade.
Including heterosexual sex.
Yes. So it's more of like it's not illegal to
Yeah.
say that somebody's gay. It's illegal to talk to children about anal sex and trans people and heterosex if they're too young, which is used to be a rule everyone agreed with. We all want to shield children from like adult subjects. That's a healthy instinct.
You're also you're assuming anal sex is exclusively in the homo community. There are straights that have anal sex too.
Oh
Anyway,
yes,
I don't want the government schools talking to my 4 or 5 year old, 6 year old, whatever, about sex. I want them learning math and you, you know how to read, that kind of stuff. Um, my son already knows how to read and do math, but you know what I mean. Whatever they're doing by that age, that's what they should be doing. These little social studies books and you know practicing writing, stuff like that, kindergarten things.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They don't need to be talking about adults having sex, but they've been doing that. They've been, and it's who's doing that. It's not people talking about heterosexual sex to kids. There's another. What do you call them? Groomers. Going in and telling 7-year-olds about transgenders and gay sex or whatever. Showing up with a book with a dildo as a tail, dressed like a rainbow pony or whatever. Like they're out of their minds, and they're pushing buttons on purpose to get a reaction and go, "Oh, I'm so oppressed. I'm not allowed to talk to your 5-year-old about blowjobs."
yes.
But
It's
the Democrats, and that is who it is,
yeah, but
or like these shit lips are like, "Oh, you can't say gay."
well, yeah, but this is at the same time as there's news articles going, we're not teaching your children about sex. Why would you think that? We're not saying anything inappropriate. And then they lose your mind when you say, yeah, you can't do that. And then they say, we weren't even doing it. Why are you making that law? Why does that law need to exist? We weren't doing it.
Well, the reason that Perlman, it would be fucked up if you just weren't allowed to say gay, like at all at a school, like even high school. But he doesn't know that it's a law about teaching, sexual acts to children. That's all it is. But he is reacting to the bullshit he's heard on Twitter and Facebook or whatever, where you are not allowed to correct it.
Yeah.
So whatever fake news they make about LGBTQRSTU square root of 7, you're not allowed to correct it. You can't say that's not what the bill says. Here's the bill. I guarantee you, if you even posted the bill and highlighted it and said this doesn't say, don't say gay, you would get banned for telling the truth.
Well, yeah, but
These are the degenerates, right? These are the degenerate Hollywood types that propped up Harvey Weinstein, who's a serial rapist, and these faggots at Twitter that protected Hunter Biden, who was routinely seeing hookers, and some of them, sex trafficked, and making illegal deals of all manner of criminal behavior. Money laundering, pay to play, influence peddling, all that shit. He did it all, as well as crack, cocaine, and filmed it. They hid that story.
Yes, but Ron Perlman is addressing DeSantis directly as if DeSantis went up on stage and said, "Good day, everyone. Here's our new Don't Say Gay bill, outlining the
You just said
mention
it,
of gays." Yeah. Well, yeah.
Don't say what?
It's a two-page
he's an
bill.
idiot.
It's not a long bill, and it does not have the phrase "Don't say gay" anywhere in it. It's about not teaching sexual subjects to children.
But this is the Frank Luntz. This is the Frank Luntz school of propaganda, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that called the inheritance tax a death tax and all that stuff. It's how to phrase it. But what happens is somebody made that up. But then it's Twitter, Facebook. It's these editors that have decided what you can hear and can't hear, that have gotten all these celebrities and shitheads all riled up. They think that's what the bill said because it's all over their social media. And they don't understand that no one is allowed to tell you, no, that's not true, this is true. They'll get a 30-day ban or they'll get it wiped out completely. Pretty sure my most recent toasting was for saying men shouldn't play women's sports.
Yeah, well,
say that.
Well, no.
Well, I'm like, technically they agree with me because men can't play women's sports. They don't think they're men. They think they're women.
Well, do
Right?
you mean that?
So
No, but you're obviously talking about all the men that play softball, volleyball, soccer, all those women's sports. That's just wrong.
well, I was talking about swimming actually, but
Oh,
whatever the sport is, men should not be playing with women. I don't know if there is some sport. I guess there's some sports with less advantage, maybe ping pong or golf or something. I don't know.
no, not
But
ping pong. Women don't
oh
have the
no, reaction
reaction.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's
even
true.
in chess, women are worse. So like even if you remove all the physical stuff, women are still
Well, chess
not as
is
good.
that's not a sport, but they're not as good because they're not very interested in it. And B, you have to plan several moves ahead, and a man's mind just has like more spaces. Like if you're playing free cell, he's got more empty houses than a woman. Their mental development kind of taps out around 17. Whereas a man's just gets started around 17. Boys are idiots until about mid 20s to 30 before they mature.
Can confirm. Can
Girls are pretty
confirm.
mature. Yeah, girls are pretty mature. In their teenage years, whatever, because that's usually when they become a mom. But they cap at that. I know that pisses a lot of people off, but I'm just like, hey, look, let's look at our list of philosophers, physicists, whatever. They don't have a string between their legs. They can, but it's ratioed at thousands to one. So whatever. You're just not allowed to say an opinion like that. Like I could be dead wrong. I'm not being sexist. Like I'm not prejudiced. That's just what I think based on my own observations.
Yeah. And
That's what I see. I don't see a lot of female engineers and philosophers and stuff, and I don't think it's because they're oppressed. I think they don't care or need to care about any of that shit. They have
yes.
a very important job making and raising babies, and they don't have time to devote resources to other shit. That's what I think.
Yes. Do you want to move on to our second story?
Yeah, now that I cleared all the girls out of the room.
Yeah. We successfully
That's
made
not
this a sausage party.
all 5 of them.
Yeah. But if you remember an exchange between Peter Doocy and Jen Psaki at the White House, when
He's the only one not on the cue card.
yeah, so
Did you see that? We got to bring that up real fast. Man, come on.
the cue card.
Yeah. They had all the questions that were about to be asked and what the answers were. And Reuters got a picture of it in Biden's hand.
Give me a second here.
Like, here's your tough on Putin. And then here's your answer. You're like, this is what he's going to ask you. This is what you say. That's why Pelosi's like, no, don't let him speak. He just needs to stick to the fucking teleprompter or the paper in his hand. He doesn't get to give opinions. He's a cutout. He's nothing but a cutout. Much like Epstein. Can't keep his hands off kids either. Much like Epstein. Sniffing people's hair.
Yeah, so
Such a weird... Maybe he just likes children's shampoo. Maybe just buy him a bottle. Here, dude, just have at it,
Yeah, so
leave the kids alone.
Yeah, so Reuters took a photo of Biden where he had both the questions and the answers he was supposed to give during a White House news briefing. So,
they gave those to Trump too. He'd read like one line and throw it to the side and just start to answer any way he wanted.
yeah, that's
They couldn't control him.
yeah,
Like, here's what you're supposed to say. Like, nah. He just do his shit.
yeah.
It's a cue card.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the exchange between the Ginger and Ducey about pipelines, I think.
Yes.
Is what you're gonna get at.
So she said the Keystone XL pipeline won't address any of the problems we're having currently. And this was in a response to Peter Doocy probing her about why they decided to rebrand gas prices as the Putin price hike. And he
That also
said,
ignores all the jobs involved with
yeah,
the
and he was
line.
like,
Okay.
well, isn't there a problem with there not being enough pipelines, basically? And she said, no, the gas is still there, or the oil is still there. It's not a problem of pipelines. But then we have this story from Slashdot. Exxon weighs taking gas to Bitcoin pilot to 4 countries because what Exxon has been doing in North Dakota is using, instead of burning off the excess gas that they extract on flares as they do on extraction sites, they've been actually using it to power generators to mine Bitcoin. And the reason they have all this excess gas is because of a lack of pipelines. So you have gas literally just being burned to get rid of instead of being put in a pipeline because there aren't enough pipelines. So they're mining Bitcoin with it instead. And they're now going to put
It
this
seems
program.
like you could put that in generators and do something with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just fill up the generators for the next time it snows or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's a mining Bitcoin. I mean, they found a use.
yeah, they get to mine funny money with it and not waste the gas.
Now, Bitcoin, well, it went up and it sort of went up. Like,
Yes.
well, the dollar went down is what happened. Like, it just stayed still. Um, I was watching it. I was like 90 per ruble, 85, 84, 81, 80, just kept tanking. And the shit, well, what is it? Is it the 31st there yet or
Uh,
not yet, right?
it's April 1st.
It is.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. It's actually April 2nd. That was a April Fool's joke.
Yeah, it's April Fool's in Japan, so I thought y'all are a day behind. I guess it's morning.
No, no,
It's
no.
like 10 in the morning, April Fool's.
It is April 1st in Norway. And
Okay, well
America now.
then that's
That was a really
right.
bad
So
joke.
today is the day. This is when they have to pay in rubles.
Oh,
Because
yes.
March 31st was the last day they could pay in whatever they were paying with. Now, I saw a story where Germany and only Germany had etched out a deal to use euros. But they're going to have to buy rubles from a Russian bank, and then they're going to have to use rubles to pay for their liquid gas and oil.
Yeah, Russia even
Which is hilarious.
signaled today that they would make people pay in rubles for commodities like wheat and corn, which
Wow.
made it rise again. And there are no
However,
the EU is kind
they
of
also I would say they legalized parallel buying. So like I don't know, Korea this would not happen, but Korea could buy from China who buys from Russia, and they can use whatever they want to use.
yes.
Right? They'll allow that, but you know, if you start doing that, somebody's going to be a middleman, and there's still going to be a price hike. Better just buy damn rubles. South Korea has complied, from what I read. That's what they're saying, because their new president is Chad as hell. He's like, fine. Japan and Taiwan are like, they haven't moved, so I don't know what they're gonna do today. Like, because I think they're just gonna turn off the pipe if they don't have rubles. So we'll see.
Yes.
And that's big. Japan is their biggest importer of natural gas, and Korea is number 3. So like Europe, you know, Asia's been the one drinking all this up. We get a lot of natural gas from Australia as well. I don't think they can really uptick that quick though. So
Yeah, but it's
I
important
should
to
say we, I mean Japan.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's important to note that the ruble has now completely recovered to pre-war levels. The Russian
Yeah, it's hilarious.
currency is back. It lost
They
50%
planned,
of its value, and then Russia did things, and now it's back.
yeah. And I like to pat myself on the back for that article I wrote about the war chests and their way around Swift and so on. I was explaining all this shit. I did not see I did not see that coming. I did not see them pricing wheat and fertilizer in rubles, but I did warn people. I said on Reed Coverdale's show that I was more worried about the wheat and fertilizer or grain and fertilizer than I was gas and oil. Like you can put on a coat and you can, you'll be able to have enough to drive your car. It's just gonna be expensive, but not having fertilizer and not having the harvest possibly out of Ukraine means people will starve. And I think in Sri Lanka, they're already having riots over this. Like it's going to hit hard. And I think
Yes.
this is why, not only because they're part of the BRIC nations, but I think Brazil was like had no choice but to comply because if China also said, yeah, we're going to jack up or withhold our fertilizer too, then it's over. Like America cannot supply the whole rest of the world with all this stuff. And America actually has natural gas, but not enough. The logistics is just retarded. You got to cross the ocean with it. You know, um, you can't do it. And as far as oil goes, I was reading around about it. I knew there's a difference between like light crude and this and that, but even like with types of there's different types of light crude, and you can't just like unplug one and plug in the other one. Like all the refineries and stuff are set for certain type of oil, apparently. So you can't just, oh, let's just buy some more from Canada or Mexico or something. It doesn't work like that. And since Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Venezuela told Biden to go rape a cactus, and he's got sanctions on Iran and sanctions on Russia, what's he going to do? And this is what I brought up on the Four Horsemen, I think with Dave Smith. I said, well, just imagine this. If things pop off in Ukraine and they put more sanctions on Russia, which will drive them in the arms of China. This is, I'm quoting it. They have no other source because of all the things I just said. That was a year ago. But, it wasn't hard to see this coming in Ukraine. This is the direction that Obama and Biden were going in already. And I believe Hillary was going to continue since this woman was crazy enough that she wanted a no-fly zone over Syria, which also would have meant war with Russia. And then she didn't win. Trump got in. And he was like, why should I do that? Trump is a shrewd businessman. He's on the side of whoever has more money. So if it comes to Saudi Arabia and Yemen, Yemen's poor, Saudi Arabia's rich, he sides with them. Israel, Palestine, he's going to side with Israel. They got money, Palestine doesn't. But when it comes to Syria, he's like, well, where's the money? Why are we going to side with Al Qaeda? Like Syria has more money than they do. So he just let it be. For once, that amoral business was on the right side of things.
Yeah.
Because he's like, there's no money in that.
Yeah, well, he also sent a bunch of weapons to Ukraine, but he was largely pressured to do that by the deep state or the interagency consensus.
They tried to impeach him because he wouldn't do it quick enough.
Yeah. It was a perfect call.
Like,
it was a great call. It was the best call ever. Nothing wrong in the call.
Right. We need one of the Jackman twins on here to talk about his call to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, of course, I mean, I don't even feel like saying it again. Biden actually did call Ukraine to Poroshenko and did have what we call quid pro Joe. And it's on film. And the recording, we have the recording of the call, and we also have a recording of Biden talking about and bragging about the call. And a lot of people heard that CFR meeting, that video went around. Joe Biden saying, "Well, son of a bitch, you're not getting $500 million. What do you, whatever." But we have the audio of the call itself. "How are you doing, my friend? Very well indeed." You've heard it. And that's on Bitchute. It's on my Bitchute. It's an hour out of a 5-hour long video that got translated in English by the anti-corruption agency out of Ukraine. And there's a lot of other dirt besides that nugget. And the entire mass media is and was not interested in any of it. That, except Marjorie Taylor Greene, she actually brought up that call and tried to issue impeachment on Biden like her first day in office. The woman's based, stupid but based. Of course, nobody, it was just like her and probably Bobbitt alone pushing that, but
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see Congressman Matt Gaetz got vindicated? Kind of.
Oh, did he?
Well, it's been
Well,
one.
that's what Pinovich and I were saying. Yeah.
It's been 1 year since a representative of the DOJ went to the New York Times to levy extraordinary allegations against him, and there has been no charges. And he was reportedly some kind of weird Iran thing that wanted to do like a rescue mission in Iran for some Mossad agent, tried to blackmail him into being like the fall guy for it or something.
Right.
And it was just a DOJ flexing its muscle and using pure allegation as a smear tactic without actually taking him to trial at all. Now this,
you know why they're mad at him?
Because he was January 6th supporter.
No, before any of that, because I didn't even know if he was in January 6th or not. No, they hated him for his policies on Syria and Russia. He's been an adult.
Oh.
So they're like, we gotta get rid of this guy. And he brought up things. He even asked about Hunter. You can't do that. They don't care if a kind of nutter person does it, but they don't want someone that people listen to asking questions.
Yeah. Well, he did put the Hunter Biden laptop hard drive copy into the Library of Congress.
That'll do it.
Well, that was recently. He just did that this week, I think.
Well, but he's been talking about it. That's a good step for him, but he's the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
And, he's not like Marjorie Taylor Greene, QAnon, that you can just dismiss. But they're like, well, we can dismiss him if we have all these wild accusations of, sexcapades and whatever. And it's weird. It's, again, they always accuse you of what they're guilty of doing themselves.
Yeah.
The Mossad agent in Iran crap sounds like you remember the story of the Saudi Arabian used car salesman trying to get weapons to Hezbollah in Mexico? Something ridiculous. Like, wait a minute. Okay. A, Saudi Arabia is not going to give weapons to Hezbollah. B, why the hell would they be in Mexico to do this? then you got to ship them across the ocean. And it was just some used car salesman, some hapless, guy from Saudi Arabia they tried to frame. I remember I talked about it with Pepe Escobar. It was one of the stupidest, most far-fetched stories of the year. True, at that time, that was true clown world. That doesn't even scratch the surface of the bullshit that goes on nowadays.
Yeah, but
we're so deep in the clown's ass.
Yeah, but what they've done with Matt Gaetz is just they've created a cacophony of allegations. None of them have actually resulted in a formal charge. But
Wasn't that what Pelosi talked about? Wrap up smear. You just make some shit up, leak it to the media, quote yourself.
yeah.
A wrap up smear. Keep him on the defense. She's so stupid. She admits their tactics. Like, haha, we just do this and it'll go away. She's higher than her eyebrows. I don't know how much she got her face stretched for that one.
Oh,
Evil
we'll never
bitch.
know.
People do what they do when they ask her about statues toppling. People do what they do. It means I don't give a fuck. I don't care about those things. They're calling California ABC now. Anything but California.
What do you
Gavin
mean?
Newsom tried to criticize DeSantis, and DeSantis said something like, well, we'll just look at the numbers of people flee in your state and come into my state for freedom. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, well,
There's one point where every single county, even like Northern California, lost more people than they gained. That's how many are fleeing. Like, do you know how hard it is to just get up and move? Like, get another house, probably have to get another job. Like, and I think during COVID, where people could zoom in or didn't have to go to work or whatever, they're like, this is my opportunity to get the fuck out of this state.
yeah.
And they did. And a
Yeah.
lot of them went to Texas and Florida.
Well, imagine if you're making California money but living in Florida. That's a pretty nice way to live. Because living expenses in California are enormous. But but Florida, that's cheap. And there's no state income tax, I believe.
Right. I mean, it's they got like Tampa Bay, Orlando, whatever. That ain't nothing compared to San Francisco or Los Angeles. And yeah, Tallahassee versus I don't know San Diego or something. You can't compare. Rural areas are rural areas, though. Usually, I don't think it costs as much, but your sales tax and all and your income tax, that is what it is. But it's not just the money; it's the crime. The crime, the homelessness, the drug epidemics. California's fallen apart, and it's sad because it used to be one of the coolest states, like one of the best places to live, just a generation or two ago. And now it's, up there next to New Jersey is the worst state in the union.
Yeah, go to Big Sur, live as a surfer, have some fun along the coast. Beautiful coast. California is not
Well,
bad.
it's got good.
It's got the best weather.
It's
It's
just
dry and hot, but mostly not too hot.
to quote King Edward, he was talking about Scotland, but we'll just apply it to California. The only thing wrong with California is it's full of Californians. Yeah, the weather's great. The land's good. All that, it should be good. But it's full of liberals. And the same thing is happening to Hawaii. I was just in Okinawa, and my wife made this comment. She's like, this is like Hawaii without all the homeless and shit on the street and drug addicts. I said, yeah, it is. Pretty good weather, good atmosphere, lots of little local businesses and stuff. But Hawaii has been ruined by all the hobos. You can't even go to Waikiki without 20 to 30 fucking homeless people that smell like shit, which I don't understand because there's a fucking ocean right there you could go bathe in for free. They just smell like shit and lounge around and do drugs.
Yeah.
Can't go out at night.
So we have a super chat from Rolf Pedersen.
Oh, yeah.
So he says, keep on keeping on. Thanks for your work.
I agree. Fuck Lincoln.
Yeah. But
that's what I think that meant. I got one in on him on that article I wrote on Substack, too. I didn't even realize it. But I was like, I was picking on the exploitation of Ukraine because they got a triple whammy, right? I mean, it is really sad. I understand why young, like teenage Ukrainians might think Nazism is cool or whatever, because they had Holodomor, where about 8 to 11 million died of starvation. Then they got invaded by the Third Reich. Then they were the battleground between the Third Reich and the Soviet Union. Then they got invaded and occupied by the Soviet Union, which again sent more to the gulags. So 2 out of 3 of those were them getting killed by Russians. So they might kind of identify with the Germans as like, hey, these are the people that killed more Russians than anybody besides Russia killing Russians. And so they get in there. I forgot where I was going with this, but like, anyway, they had a triple whammy. Oh, Lincoln, yeah. So I was like, yeah, they suffered under communism for a long time, much worse than now. They're poor now. They were dying under communism, but even under crony capitalism, they're the poorest country in Europe. There's human trafficking. There's all manner of black markets. You know, you got to grease some palms to do anything. There's a lot of crime. It sucks. And what's funny is they ended up with the type of system that Adolf Hitler said he would call it international finance capitalism. Like, that's what he said was going to happen, what he feared was going to happen to Germany. These people would move in as kleptocratic oligarchs and get all the resources and ship them west and, just milk you dry, right? Well, that's exactly what happened. I said, well, listen, if that is the Lincoln model, where state doesn't own all the industry, but owns all the important industries. Pretty much the same thing. Yeah, you can have two systems that are opposed to each other, communism and crony capitalism, and they can both suck, and they can both exploit you. It isn't like, oh, you have to pick one or the other. There are versions of capitalism, the Jeffersonian model, that work. It's working here in Japan. It's worked in the U.S. up until Lincoln. It works. There is no version of communism that works. Not with that many people.
No, but
and like I said, you got a choice between being poor and abused versus dying of hunger.
Yeah, state capitalism works.
State capitalism works for the state.
Well, no, it works in Norway.
There is a reason. There is a reason they're the oppressor, not the oppressed.
Yeah, but it works in Norway. We get to keep all our oil revenue.
Yeah, Norway has a mixed system. I mean, they have Nordic capitalism, but they do have a lot of. In Norway, the state is doing what it's supposed to do, acting as a referee rather than a coach, and saying, okay, well, you collect this much revenue, we can spend this on public works or whatever, and that's fine. I mean, even Jefferson allowed for that. Like, okay, we can use some of the tax revenue to have a post office and build. Well, on the state level, not on a federal level, but build canals, roads, whatever. That's fine. But what you don't want is when they are using the tax revenue, or worse, just going into debt, printing money, etc., to favor one industry over another for personal profits.
Yeah.
And that probably happens everywhere, but that's not a official practice in Norway or anything.
Yes.
And people always point to Scandinavia and go, well, isn't that socialist? I'm like, no. It ain't. It sure as fuck ain't communist, because people have private property, and who are you taxing? Well, you have to have successful businesses bringing in revenue for you to tax, to take that money to spend on something else.
Yeah, well, we call it state capitalism because the state owns large businesses and runs them like businesses. But we got a super chat, another super chat from Hooker, and it's 50 Australian dollars, and he says, "Hope all is well, Rye."
Ooh. Wow, that's somebody. I guess the notifications did go out on Entropy, because I haven't seen Hooker in a while.
Yeah,
and I hope all is well in Australia. I think in Perth you were always allowed to go outside, but everywhere else they had a severe Dr. Fauci virus restrictions. I'm not going to call it Corona anymore. Just call it the Fauci virus. Severe restrictions in Australia.
Yeah.
A few months of that though, the people started fucking showing up outside the Capitol.
Yeah, so I have a
Good on 'em.
question. I have a question for the people on Entropy. Did you get an email notification for today's stream? And you don't have to send a super chat to answer. You can just tell me in chat if that happened or not, because
Yeah.
I have not received it on my end. But I also know that Entropy kind of. No, okay. Hooker got it from Telegram. So we don't know
Oh
yet.
well. Entropy was saying they fixed it, but they may not have. It may also be the case that because I'm not on Streamlabs right now, like I'm not streaming on the secret thing, and I'm not streaming on well, I can't stream on YouTube or Twitch, so and maybe they need that activated to send out a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We can inquire them later, but let's not. This is background business. So
That's right. Well, it's good info if you know another influencer, for lack of a better word. Oh, this is what they did. A lot of people got affected by Entropy getting broken.
yeah.
They got run out of Canada
By the way,
by the petty tyrant.
the Aussie dollar is relatively strong at the moment.
True. God, the dollar just tanked. The yen also tanked. Japanese yen ain't worth shit right now. It's worth like 80 cents. Sucks for me.
Well, isn't it? Oh, but you get your income from abroad.
I still gotta. What I do is I take it and put it in to pay rent and all that in the bank. At least a month worth. But it sucks for me because my income is dollars and yen, and both of them have tanked. So sucks. All the stuff I converted to yen is now, well, it won't be so bad because I'm just going to spend it in Japan anyway on fixed income or fixed billing. Like
Yeah.
rent is rent.
So
But yeah,
I have two chats in Entropy now saying that they actually got the email notification. So it is
okay.
apparently working. So great news, everyone.
It's also the Ryan Dawson one, not the Reno one. So it's like the old one.
Yeah, it's the ANC
We never
report.
really, right. So some people are on one of them, some people are on the other one. I've asked them, can you combine those two lists? And they won't do it or can't or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Whatever.
Entropy is kind of a shambles company at the moment. They lost like 40% of their staff and they had to flee Canada for obvious reasons. So,
Yep.
Godspeed
Well,
to them.
I'm sticking with them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be loyal to them because they helped me out when there was no other option. They got their shit together and whatever. It's on Odysee as well. You can monitor that. You can super chat on Odysee too. And I'm supporting them too because they backed up like 10 years of my videos. Not all of them, the really long ones. What happened was YouTube went in and deleted like 190 of them, and those are all gone. And then all the shit on Vimeo is gone, which sucks. But Odyssey grabbed like over 3,000 videos
Yeah,
from about 2008 now.
it's quite an extensive archive, and if you use the search function, you can actually find a lot of old videos of Ryan on Odysee.
Right. And you couldn't before. It's only been like a couple of weeks since they got the new app on Androids and stuff that they have a functioning search thing, but now it does. And there's a lot of shit on Ukraine. There's Scott Ricard, which I didn't republish, and then there's of course Doug Valentine and Escobar, Peter
Yes.
Lavelle, Corbett, Peter Von Buren. That's a good one. He worked for the State Department too. One of the few good ones, right? Who else? Whatever. It's all in there, and there's a lot. I did a lot of solo ones because this shit was going down in 2014. I think they called it the most blatant coup in U.S. history.
Well, it was so blatant that an audio recording of Victoria Nuland planning the coup and the post-coup government was leaked on YouTube 2-3 weeks before it actually happened. Like,
Yeah, was our guy. Fuck the EU. Yeah, and she's a ding, and Tony Blinken ding, Kolomoisky ding. Kolomoisky's like the Charles Bronfman of Ukraine. He's the president of all these different Jewish societies. It's I put all that stuff in today's article too. It's it's pretty fucking clear who these neocons are and who wants to exploit these white Christian countries and steal everything they have. And it's not Presbyterians.
all right,
It's
we have another super chat from Gudmundur Thor Carlson.
Gudmundur Thor Carlson.
Yes, I wonder what will be more expensive in the future, toilet paper or the Turkish lira? That's for $3.
That's funny because that's the old ruble joke during the ruble overhang in the 90s, right? Hey, Boris, or what? Hey, Ivan, do you wipe your ass with toilet paper, or do you just use the rubles?
Yeah, that's yeah. Russia was not a nice place to be in the 90s.
Open mob war, all that. The transition was terrible, and they lost all their satellite states. But even worse would be if you were an ethnic Russian in a former Soviet state like Ukraine or any of those satellite states. You're like a person without a real home.
Yeah, where do I
They
go?
resented. They blamed them for what the government in Russia had done. Like you speak Russian, it's your fault. That's like blaming me for the war in Iraq. I had nothing to do with it. Opposed it as strongly as a person could, other than strapping on a suicide vest. Didn't matter. Like they just did it.
Yeah,
I used to go on CNN and stuff back then. I was allowed to do that, and spoke my mind, and they just edit what I say.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Norway, it was weird because our press is relatively America critical, especially when it comes to war. So we all got the reporting that there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and it was all bogus. But we
Yeah.
just had to watch as Americans became like rabidly insane with what do you call it, with
Well,
hawk warlike fervor for invasion, and we couldn't do
yeah.
anything about it.
Warmongering.
Yeah, warmongering. We just had to watch you Americans collectively go insane and just have to accept it because
Well,
yeah.
what was weird is there were protests in the U.S., even in Yankee cities, even in like New York City. I was at one of them against the war in Iraq before it happened. So there were a lot of people that knew. At least there's no evidence for WMDs. Like if they're there, then where's the evidence for them? You never showed any evidence for them. And you know who was really Chad back then was Jacques Chirac from France, who they got so mad at him they wanted to rename French fries, right?
Yeah,
France
well,
and Russia, France and Russia opposed the Second Gulf War.
well, they renamed French fries in the Congress cafeteria.
Is it freedom fries?
Well, it became freedom fries. I can actually Google to find out, but that's what I heard, that they did it in the Congress cafeteria as a statement.
I'm surprised they eat French fries in the Congress. Like, can't they afford potato wedges or something? I don't know. Freedom fries. Can you imagine naming all the food shit like that? I want my Liberty milkshake.
All right. Okay, so I have. Okay, so freedom fries was a politically motivated renaming for French fries in the United States. The term was created in February 2003
Walter Jones,
in a North Carolina
right?
restaurant. And was widely
Yeah.
publicized a month later when the Republican chairman of the Committee of House Administration, Bob Ney, renamed the menu item in the 3 congressional cafeterias. So yes.
Yeah,
That's how far they took that.
that was
That was
Walter B. Jones's son, Walter B. Jones Jr. said that on the floor. Should name it Freedom Prize. But he did a complete 180 on that position. I talked to him about it, so I was embarrassed by it. I said, "Look, they didn't have WMDs, and y'all got snowed." And he knew about the Office of Special Plans and all that. He actually told me in the Quarterdeck restaurant in North Carolina, he thought that Dick Cheney could get impeached. And I was like, really? That never happened, but it was something he said. Like, yeah, oh well.
yeah.
He came down there trying to sell us a war, and none of us cared. We're like, we want our beach open. Fuck Afghanistan. Like, open our beach, like that's all anybody had to say. Like, wait till he's done. And we're like, man, fuck Afghanistan. We want our fucking beach open right here. They're so divorced from normal problems sometimes,
Yes.
They don't know. Can you imagine if California had a DeSantis-like governor clean that shit up? They could be so wealthy
Who?
if they got their shit in California.
Well, they
I
are.
mean, they were the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yeah, they are.
But I'm talking about
wealthy.
Yeah, they're rich. Yeah. Well, no, they're in deep debt. I mean, they have a lot of revenue, but they owe a lot too. So
Yeah.
that cancels that out. But they could really be in the black instead of the red.
Oh,
They
we have
got so
another.
much red in their ledger.
Yeah, we have another super chat. And excuse me when I pronounce this, Nick. RN Jimsus for Perpendiculon donates $3 with a message. What do you think about the Ukraine airstrike in Russia yesterday? Thanks for all you do, bro.
You see, Perpendiculon is a takeoff of Dagalon, right?
Oh.
There's Triagolon, Dagalon.
Oh, he's giving me
Germany
props.
takes it as a joke.
Well, he approved of my pronunciation, so I actually got it right.
Jim Zeus.
Yeah.
RM Jim Zeus Perpendiculon. That's pretty good. What do you ask? The strike in Russia?
Yeah,
a desperate move.
Yeah, well,
It's the second one, right?
Yeah,
actually the third time they've crossed the border. The first time they didn't get anything but destroyed. And then they've done, I think it was an artillery strike actually. And I don't know if there was an airstrike recently or if that was again artillery.
The reports are that helicopters crossed the borders and the Russians got caught sleeping on the job and they struck a fuel depot. But I don't know about that. That might not be true. But
it's, they come, I'm not saying it's not true, but over the past month, it seems like always fake news. Like every time Ukraine claims some shit like this, it's like footage from a video game, or it just gets debunked within 24 to 48 hours. So I'd give that some time to see if it even happened. I just don't see helicopters getting to the border, much less across the border. I can see people sleeping on the job on the other side, but I don't see their aircraft making it very far. I mean, they've lost, they're down to like 30 units out of the 270 something they started with.
Yeah, and also, like, do you seriously think Russia doesn't have enough fuel? Do you think they don't have enough fuel?
Well,
they have fuel in the Black Sea. They have fuel everywhere.
I know.
Like,
well, they've been laying supply lines for their tanks, like an actual pipe.
Yeah.
A makeshift, like rubber and plastic one to get fuel there. But it's such a desperate mission. Like, you're gonna risk the few helicopters you have left to blow up one fuel depot or whatever, which they'll replace within hours. and you got to get all the way across the border and back with your choppers. It seems like they'd use those in defense of their cities or as air support for their line against Donbass or something better than that. But maybe it's a morale thing. Like, look, we're going to hit them in Russia, get them worried about that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Pull a John Paul Jones, you know, during the Revolutionary War. He went all the way to Scotland and started attacking the shipyards, which had to be hilarious, you know. The British waking up one morning and they see ships out there with American flags bombing their boat, or not bombing, you know, cannon their boats. Like, the fuck? How much propaganda is there? Are we losing this badly? Like, the ships are here? It's just one guy.
Yeah.
It's just like,
We got another super chat. Once again from Hooker for $3 Australian. And this is a big one. Rye, can you go over pipelines relating to Ukraine/Russia quickly?
quickly.
Yeah, quickly. That's why I was like, ooh, quickly.
Pipelines related to Russia? There's a lot of lines out of Russia. Okay, so
Well, relating to Ukraine,
here's your
Russia, so mainly the ones.
okay, so
Yeah.
the cliff notes yet. So Ukraine used to be a sort of nexus point for, let's just say, several lines that had to go through there, oil and gas, to get to other parts of Europe. And that's always a good thing. You know, they built them when they had way better relationships, but it's always good to be a transitory state. People argue, like, yes, please put the pipeline on our land, right? They want gas and oil to go through them. They can charge for it. Russia built one that circumvented them completely. That was the Nord Stream 2 line, which just went directly to Germany and didn't have to go through Ukraine. That one got shut down. Some are saying that was a sacrificial pawn. I don't agree. Like, but I feel like Germany lost the most on that because they paid for it and then didn't really get to use it. Sucks for them. But, you know, they do what America says, and it's against their own interests, and that sucks for them, but that's how it is.
Well,
all the pipelines through Ukraine right now, believe it or not, they are still delivering gas and oil to Ukraine.
yes.
You'd think, oh, that got all this, because they care about civilians there. Russia could cut that off, but they haven't.
Yeah, but that would also anger, like a lot of European countries get it via Ukraine as a transit country. That would fuck up Italy and
Right.
a bunch of other countries as well. But you could see this war and the constant provocations from the Ukrainian side as a ploy to stop the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from being operational. That is one way
I
you
mean,
can
in the
look
future,
at.
it's
Yeah,
already off.
well, yes, but it was physically completed, and the only thing that remained was the certification process from the German government. And the U.S., with Trump in charge, tried to put sanctions on it, and when that didn't work, when Biden stopped the sanctions, they might had as a motivation for edging for giving the Ukrainians false confidence to attack Russia or Russian-backed separatists in Donetsk, that they could stop the pipeline from being operational.
Well, it's off now.
Yeah, and to a certain degree, that is in the interest of Ukraine too, because if Germany and Russia can circumvent Ukraine to deliver gas to Europe, Ukraine will be substantially poorer as a country. That's about one of the few things they actually have besides wheat, is those pipelines and transit contracts. And
Well,
they're
they're forced to use them.
Yeah, and all their industry is in the eastern Ukraine, so they don't get the benefit from that because there's a war raging there. And even though the eastern Ukraine is not the most populous part of Ukraine, they account for half of the country's GDP.
Yeah, the wealthiest oligarch was the governor of Donetsk.
Yes.
You know, and it must be a substantial hike because Germany was willing to spend billions on a direct line just to avoid these middlemen. right? So it must have been a substantial cut for transit contracts, what have you.
Yeah,
I feel like they're like, well, the more we share in business, the less things are likely to pop off, right? But as
German.
you keep reducing trade and putting sanctions, then there's like, well, I got nothing to lose, so why behave?
Yeah, well, a German-Russian alliance is a natural outcome because of their Germany needs energy and Russia needs money, and Germany has money and Russia has energy.
Yep.
But I think the geostrategical planners in the U.S. are fully aware of that, and they're doing all they can to stop that from becoming not an alliance but an economic partnership, because then they would actually just control all of Europe through the power of their economies.
They don't want to see Russia grow because Russia is the only threat to American hegemony as a military power. As an economic power, I mean, Germany is still behind Japan and China, for example. Um, they might be next in line, though.
Yeah, well, they're a big dog in Europe, at least.
Well, they're richest in Europe for sure.
Yes, and they have the most productive economy
In Europe,
in Europe. Yes,
yeah.
it's like
Um,
parts for your phone made in Germany, also made in Japan and Korea and the U.S. But
Taiwan.
yeah, but these are like the industrial titans that do well on the world market.
But I think Germany is, other than China and Japan, I think they actually do have a larger economy than any other part of Asia. Um, South Korea is on its way up. South Korea's economy is larger than Russia now. That's something considering how small the state is. And then Taiwan is forced to spend so much on defense because they're constantly threatened by China. Oh, although against South Korea too, they got to deal with North Korea. So I don't know. They just very strong work ethic there. They really, really care about education. You got to understand. Just when I was born, South Korea was so fucking poor that it was thought of as like Ethiopia or something. Like, oh, Korea. It was the 141st wealthiest economy or whatever. It was damn near the bottom, just like North Korea is now. And within 30, 40 years, they're now the 10th largest economy on earth,
Yeah.
thanks to capitalism.
Well, they also did
Yeah.
a large-scale industrial espionage on Japan to follow their example. So, engineers in Japan would go to Korea on the weekends and give away all their trade secrets and help them build cars.
Well, they like Korean pussy.
Yeah, it works.
Well, all of Korea had been part of Japan for 42 years. And so a lot of their railways, schools, all that were set up and built by the Japanese anyway. They will not admit this, but I mean, that's a fact. Japan annexed Korea. However, almost the entirety of the industry was in the north. So when they divided, the north walked away with all the good stuff, and the south had like nothing, just agrarian, nothing there. And very quickly, the northern part of South Korea, like Seoul, Swain, places like that, became the new industrial centers. And the only unconquered piece, Busan, or Busan, whatever you want to say, is probably the second biggest economic hub. And I think that city's pretty Chad because during the fucking Mongol invasions, Chinese invasions, the Korean War, whatever, that's the one spot that was like, nope. I believe General Yi is from that area. It was probably the coolest, or Admiral Yi, excuse me. Got to be the most badass maritime warrior of all time. I'm sitting here thinking of a counterexample. I can't think. Not even William Reed could touch this guy. There's statues of him everywhere. General Yi. Maybe he's a distant cousin to General Lee.
Oh, he's the guy that defeated an armada with 13 ships.
Yeah, he invented the turtle ship and all that stuff. Like
Yeah, I've seen movies
he
glorifying him.
he's and you know, it wasn't because he had better boats or whatever, because other Korean admirals lost against the Japanese with the exact same ships and everything. His tactics were just unmatched. He had like least strategy and general forest tactics. That's how badass he was. But he did get killed on the final battle after Japan was going home. He was like, no way, and he kept sinking their ships on their way back to Japan. And somebody caught him with an arrow or some lucky shot. And the guy that killed him was from Osaka. So props to that guy too, I guess.
Okay.
But it was kind of best. He became more legendary because he died in battle. Like when the battles, he didn't even have to have a battle. He just wanted to kill more Japanese because they laid waste to Korea, right? So why not? And so he went after him. And it's like because he died in his prime, made him like more of a badass. Like
Okay.
Stonewall or something.
All right.
Anyway.
We've been streaming for 1 hour and 11 minutes. Do you want to take questions from the Telegram listeners?
That's not really fair since other people super chatted.
Well, we have people who super chatted in Telegram.
Oh well, they can. Yeah, those people. Sure.
Okay.
Come on in.
If you want to speak, well, we got Portugal podcast. He's super chatted before.
Yeah, but he didn't today.
Okay.
How Jewish is that? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, bring him in. Bring him in.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very goy today.
Yeah.
Let him talk.
Yeah. Portugal podcast, you're on the line.
Sorry, still driving.
And time's
I
up.
didn't
No,
super
go
chat. Didn't super chat today because I'm still driving, and driving the bus and super chatting at the same time is not the best solution. Look, Ryan, I thought it was very interesting the Korean stuff, what you're saying.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know much about it, and I would like to know one thing. You think that North Korea did, because you said all the industry was up north, correct, and all the good stuff.
In the 50s, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it was because of the sanctions as well and being ruled by that? So going into that dictatorship way that they went to, or do you think it was just the West giving?
Nah, its central government doesn't work. Like during the 90s or during the 80s and stuff, they had also enjoyed support from the Soviet Union. So they had trade, they inherited all the industry, they had everything going for them. The South lost, their whole base of their country, and it all reversed. Now, a lot of the sanctions on North Korea, it's not like they're not allowed to trade. The sanctions are on individuals in North Korea, like people in Pyongyang and stuff. So like people are like, oh, they're starving because they're not allowed to trade for food. There's not a single sanction on agriculture in North Korea. They are perfectly legally allowed to buy rice from Japan or whatever they want to do. They just don't have any money. Well, now I would argue there are sanctions on dual purpose machine parts, like that you could use in a tractor or something. You could also use it in the military purpose. But my God, how fucked are you if you can't build your own machine parts? You know what I mean? Like they cannot replace parts on tractors and automobiles and stuff. They are having cattle, and in some rural places, people pulling on a plow with ropes. They have prisoners tilling the land because they don't even have enough cows either. They've eaten them all. Because there was a period there with Kim Jong-il, he built this big fucking dam, which was a mistake, ruined the agriculture, and he couldn't admit he made a mistake, wasting all this money and time on building this fucking dam. So, they ended up using prisoners to till the land and stuff, and they lost 10% of their population to starvation. 10%. And now that is lopsidedly so, because in some areas it was more like 50%. In the capital city, they didn't really feel it because they just pull from all the areas to themselves, right? And they've categorized people into like red group, blue group, gray group or something. I forget. But there's 3 levels. Call them alpha, beta, cuck or something. And if you are not in that alpha group, you're fucked. It's a true like caste system in Korea. I just got invited to Club Annie. Well, I'll go look at the window. This looks sketchy as hell. No, I know where to bring my friends if they come visit.
Oh. Well,
What was I saying? I want to show you guys this flyer this like mafia guy gave me. It's like, yeah, got a lot of women on it. It's like,
oh, I'm buying a
60
ticket to
minutes.
Japan right now. I'll come.
Yeah, 60 minutes for $30, which in yen for you guys would probably be like $10. There's a line app too. And it looks like, whatever, I'm not going to that. I'm flattered that the guy thought I was a young, virile, single man, but I am walking around at, what time is it? 11:30 at night by myself, so that makes sense. Anyway. Yeah, and North Korea has a caste system of different families and stuff. And it's weird, like, they had automobiles up until the 50s. They had all the cars that had already been built. But there are highways where you won't see a single car. Some people driving in the capital, they all have military jobs or whatever. It's the only people that can pay for anything. They even have a car shop that's propaganda. Like if it's foreign journalists go there, they go, "Oh yeah, look, you want to buy a car? It's got like cars in the window and stuff." But no one's ever bought a car from there. Like it was all the same cars, like for different visits from different people, right? It's all for show. The place is crazy.
I have great news. I have awesome news. Jen
Kissinger.
Jen Psaki is going to leave the White House this spring.
She's got COVID too, right? Same
Yeah.
time as Hillary.
Apparently she's going to leave for a MSNBC gig. So I was hoping nobody would ever point a camera at her ever again, but sadly my dreams have been crushed.
She's the worst, and they knew that. Wasn't she a spokesperson for the State Department already? Like, this is our fucking lie to the camera girl. And now she's the White House press secretary.
Oh yeah, she worked at the State Department. She was terrible at the State Department, by the way.
Dude, that place, when Hillary and then Kerry, right, talk about compromise, it's always been bad. Like, I can't remember a time when the State Department was like the logical people, right? But I think it like nosedived even more than it already was with Hillary Clinton. Because she's like Kamala Harris, like one tiny disagreement, you're out of here. And she just staffed it with morons.
Yeah, the State Department used to be the ones with actual knowledge of foreign policy, right? But I don't know.
If you go back to the 60s or something,
yeah.
I mean, it's been fucked for a while.
Yeah, but with Hillary, they got them to go all gung-ho on Libya and Syria, and they kind of made the entire place like a one imperial death factory.
Yeah, they've teamed up with the World Economic Forum and all those NATO people. I guess, I don't know, maybe James Baker was not an idiot. He was in the Reagan administration. I believe he was Secretary of State for a little while. He was Secretary of Treasurer. I'm trying to think. No, maybe it wasn't. Yeah, he was briefly. He was White House Chief of Staff. He did everything. He was one of they called him the wise guys, right? And then Kennedy has his whiz kids and stuff. And they were the realist, like Zabriskie and people in Baker. They were like the supposedly the smart guys.
The not insane people, like.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, and they seemed smart when I was a kid, but I'm like, I'm not. They don't know any more than I do, right? And that's not even my job. Like, they I don't know, maybe they do, but like, the people in there now are just embarrassing.
Blinken? Yeah.
Tony Blinken.
I have some good news from Odysee. We have a new super chat from 6WL.
Oh, Wolf.
Yes, Wolf. Wolf. And he says, "Love the Ryan Varg streams." Smiley face.
That's why we do them. Just for him.
Yeah, just for you, Wolf.
I like the Odysee super chats because Odysee only takes like 7.5%.
Yeah,
which is sweet.
I'm confused as how they are making money at all. Odysee seems too good of a deal.
I think 7.5% from all these people that got shunned from YouTube and stuff, and not from me. They're not making anything, but like some of these people pull in pretty good numbers. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what Red Alf and Killstream and stuff are doing, but
well, yeah, they basically got all the audience from DLive, and DLive was a big site with a lot of big investors and impressive infrastructure.
Isn't it hilarious? Everybody left that. What are they doing? Video games now?
Nobody gives a shit about DLive.
They totally shot themselves in the foot when they started banning, like, Fake the Last Cat Ethan Ralph or whatever it was. I think they banned Raging Dissident too. Anybody they thought was associated with the Capitol, right?
Yeah, everybody.
And so everybody left. They're like, everybody left. I never got on there. I was like, because I remember when they first started, they banned Owen Benjamin, and they banned Killstream, but then brought it back again. And so I thought, nah, not even gonna mess with that. Because if they're banning them, they'll definitely ban me.
The first angry letter they get, like.
Right, Hoffman would get on them. So
yeah.
I just never used it. I used it like 3 times ever or something. I believe Owen and I both got banned from Patreon too. He was first. I think he got banned on it before I even started using it. And then Sargon on the COD. They banned Sargon. These companies are stupid. Go woke, go broke, right? But YouTube doesn't give a shit. They have so many users. It doesn't matter. But what they don't understand is DLive was only getting their YouTube rejects.
Yeah.
So
that is your business model.
Doing that, right? Your business model is get your YouTube rejects. Like, why would anybody leave YouTube unless they had to? Like, who the fuck's gonna go on DLive if they're still on YouTube? Nobody. Because it's 1,000 times more eyeballs, 10,000 times more on YouTube than DLive.
Yeah, it's but it's nice to see that Odysee came and saved that entire corner of the internet.
Yeah.
And they're getting shit for
And
it. They're getting sued by the DOJ or the SEC or whatever. They're getting sued by the government because they try
that's a
to,
good sign.
yeah, they try to claim the library tokens was a pyramid scheme or some kind of scam when it's you stake coins to upload videos, and that's how you pay for the hosting is you stake crypto. But they tried to say that was a scam and a fraud. And that's how you know Odysee are cool, because they're getting sued by the government.
Yeah, I think I've been on there since 2018 or something.
Well, you were like one of the first adopters.
Somebody wrote me a letter from, I guess, Germany maybe. You want to be on this? I was like, okay. And just automatically grab my YouTube.
Yeah.
I said, could go for it, you know.
And now people
But
can.
I didn't know if they're woke or not, so I never announced it. And they weren't called Odysee yet; they're just called Libri or whatever.
Libri.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I went on Odysee, and the oldest video I could find was you with a chalkboard going over the Fed and how they screw you, and the government, and how taxes and the Fed screw you.
Oh. That's from, I think,
That's from
I put that on
2009.
YouTube
But yes.
yeah, I put that on YouTube on 2006, and it got deleted.
Yeah, well, the description says there was like 38,000 views on the video before YouTube deleted it. So you got
Yep.
the conservative cancel culture treatment in 2009.
Yeah, I got it December 2008, but it was the video is from 2006. 38,000 views was a lot back then because nobody was on YouTube back then. It was all MySpace back then. And yeah, it sucked. It's called How They Bleep You 101. I remember thinking, man, if I put this on a chalkboard, this will be a hit. It was like the Don't Israel My Juice idea. I just knew it already. Yeah, they fucked me over. They erased all my videos between 2006 and December of 2008. Gone.
Oh, I have
No
some.
explanation.
Yeah, I have some news about a recent banning from YouTube. Chris Hedges, his show On Contact got its entire catalog removed, its entire archive removed. And guess where he's going now?
Just try it.
Chris Hedges,
See.
who's almost a literal saint. He works in a prison. He's a formally educated priest at Harvard, and he used to do war reporting from Yugoslavia. Now he's on Substack because he got fired from Truthdig too. So because Truthdig didn't want to pay him. So now he's on Substack with all the other rejects, where you can also find Ryan Dawson, Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, Michael Tracy, a bunch of people.
Yeah, Michael Tracy's on there. I didn't know that.
Well, maybe I exaggerated. I can find out.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I just said I didn't know. But I knew Glenn Greenwald was on there because Tucker mentioned him in Substack in a show. And then a mutual friend of ours also mentioned it. I said, okay, I'll do it. No censorship from them so far.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking about the hall of cost or anything, but you know, I got pretty edgy today on Ukraine and no censorship.
Yeah, Michael Tracy is on Substack, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's
all black sheep, man.
Yeah, he's like a non-woke leftist. So he had this tweet where he said, I would like to remind the left that if there is a nuclear war, trans and people of color will also die in the blast.
Yeah, people who matter to them.
Yeah, like
not just white men.
Yeah, nuclear war isn't all it's hyped up to be. Trans people will die. That's why you have to fear it.
Yeah, but if there's a nuclear war, trans dog cats
Well, we
burn.
need to do more Pentagon research to figure out how nuclear radiation affects dilation, because that's vital for the trans community to be able to do dilation after a nuclear blast.
What if Jeremy Kaufman gets in and we make the radiation gayer?
I almost want to play his ad once more. That was so great.
You should.
Okay. Well, give me
you
a few
should.
seconds here, and I'll pull it up.
Yeah, cue it up. If you haven't seen this, you should. If you're just listening, you should actually watch, like, look at your phone or whatever for this ad because it's funny. And it's by the creator of Odysee, who, by the way, was on Reed Coverdale's show, The Naturalist Capitalist. You can watch that interview on YouTube or Odysee. I think you should probably watch it on Odysee since, you know, the guy from Odyssee's in it. If I'm watching Reed or whoever, I try to watch him on Odysee just to help build up that channel because I hate YouTube. But yeah, they'll get like 3,000 views on YouTube and 36 on Odysee.
Okay, Jeremy Kaufman is ready to go. So everybody look at your screen and watch this beauty of an ad.
Picture this. Innocent people in the Middle East. They're having dinner. A bomb is dropped on their house, and they're all killed. What's the problem with this? It's being done by white men. I am Jeremy Kaufman, the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton and candidate for United States Senate. It is time to diversify the murderous military-industrial complex. We need to make the nukes gay. And that's why I'm running for office. Like my fellow Democrats and Republicans, I will support every war. I will support stealing billions of dollars from Americans to kill innocent people, but we are gonna make it so gay. It will go down in the history books. We will say never have so many genders and so many races killed innocent people. Let's bomb Yemen. But let's make sure a rainbow of skin colors are dropping those bombs. These are gonna be the gayest transist murders the United States has ever performed. That's what I stand for as the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton, and that's what I'll do once elected to the United States Senate. I'm Jeremy Kaufman, and I'm gay for this message. I'm serious.
Okay, that's it.
I love the end
I'm
where
serious.
it says make love, not war. And then they crossed out not, so it just says make love war.
Yeah, make
And then
love
love's
war.
a rainbow. So it's saying make gay love war.
Well, and by the way, that is everyone. That is
hey,
the CEO of
if
Odysee.
he's really running, he's really running for Senate. He really is. And boy, if he gets in, I'd like a chief of staff position. That's all I'm saying. Right? Because he's gonna have to do real shit if he gets elected.
Well,
Yeah.
well, imagine. The question is, do leftists see the irony of the message? Do they understand that it's parody?
Oh, it would take him a few minutes.
Yeah. Because that's basically, they went all gung-ho for the CIA in the wake of Trump. And
They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about Yemen. Like the stuff he was saying,
Yeah.
let's bomb Yemen, whatever. They don't care if you're killing brown people somewhere else, right? It's all about getting pats on the head from each other. And they're the most intolerant, fucking hysterical people in the world. And all this pro-gay, pro-minority, they don't care about any of those people. They care about looking good to each other.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing I'm supposed to say.
Oh, by the way, we
They
got
don't really give a shit.
a new super chat, and it is from Portugal Podcast.
He must have stopped his bus.
Yeah, he says paying my debt.
Or just says bang.
No, okay. It says paying my debt. Thanks for answering my question. P.S. Fuck Lincoln with an anchor.
Oh yeah, I'd probably get up there. I bet Lindsey Graham could swallow one.
Ooh, ladybug. I sure seen a lot of big anchors in my day. Well, I shouldn't try to do this.
2017 will be the year of offense.
I should do I've found out that the only impression I can do is Bane, and that's just mildly funny.
No, your impression of British people sounds Irish.
Oh yes.
So just try to sound British, and you can do an Irish accent.
All right, governor. I'm the no.
No.
Well,
No. Okay. Yeah.
if I see that Putin, I'm gonna put him in the hospital, no doubt. Oh, that was more Ollie G. I don't know what I'm doing.
That sounded Jamaican almost.
Yeah. I'm terrible at impressions.
You just accidentally do other accents.
Yes. Is there any more news? I just got a DM about that's a terrible British accent.
Oh, that's supposed to be British.
Yeah, that was terrible. Well, I could do it. I could do a accent of Jens Stoltenberg, the
Like,
NATO chief.
Hey, do a Spanish accent. He's like, hey, yo, diddly dee. Like, no.
No, but I can do Jens Stoltenberg. Listen here, Putin.
Okay.
You have to stop this aggression. This will not stand. NATO is very worried about the increased tensions in the region, and we will put forth a forceful alliance to deter your aggression, Mr. Putin.
It sounded a little bit Swedish.
Well, Norwegian and Swedish has like the same accent, but he has like one of the thickest Norwegian accents in Norwegian politics. So It's kind of weird that they made him the NATO general secretary because he's an economist.
The first Swedish I ever heard was from Ren and Stimpy.
I don't know.
Stimpy has a cousin.
What's that?
You don't know what Ren and Stimpy is?
No.
It's a fucked up cartoon. It's better you don't know, I guess. No. The first Swedish is not really Swedish. Would have been the Swedish Chef from the Muppets. Where he's all this whatever, but he doesn't really speak any Swedish. He's just a Muppet. But in Ren and Stimpy, they had some Swedish. And it just sounded so funny. Like I think Chinese sounds funny too, if you don't know what they're saying. It's a funny sounding thing, hearing them talk. Anyway.
Well,
are there any languages you hear and you're just like, that just sounds like, you know?
I used to have an American friend who lived in Norway, and he told me Norwegian just sounded like babble. Like you were babbling. It didn't sound like language. It sounded like you were pretending to speak a language. But we got a new super chat from Squirrel Nuts for $10.01.
Nice.
Yeah,
so it's not Hamilton.
Yes, here's to calling out Lady G before he got outed by the gay community.
Lady G.
What
do you mean?
Well, maybe that's that senator who was a friend of McCain.
Oh,
Lady
Lindsey Graham.
Bug.
I got it.
Yeah,
Took
Lindsey
me a
Graham.
second. Took me a second. Yeah. He's so deep in the closet he can see Richard Simmons.
Well, he's so deep in the closet. No, he's so deep in the closet. He's already taken a full tour of Narnia.
He passed them a long time ago. Yeah, Narnia's in his rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to South Carolina and they're like, what do you think will happen when Lindsay comes out? The whole populace will be like, we know. We've always known that.
Yeah.
that guy. That guy's queer in a football bat.
I will kill you, Putin. So help me God.
And he's gayer in a $3 bill.
Do you want to hear from the audience again?
Gayer than a cock-flavored lollipop.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can let Portugal Podcast back in. And if anybody else has a question, you can raise your hand and I will let you speak your piece.
Any comment about Perlman?
Oh, yeah.
Don't say.
Don't say gay.
What it is, he's all this fucking indignant. He's like, oh, I'm going to get so much praise for this. I'm white knighting the gay community. I'm going to get so many pats on the head. And he's like, there's no don't say gay bill, you fucking dumbass. You shouldn't make a video about stuff, about a bill that you didn't read. That's Pelosi's job.
Well, you know, actors are known for being very intelligent and not vapid and shallow and useless at anything else than acting.
You know, there's some Mr. Bean had a great speech about free speech. He's got like an IQ of 150 or something crazy. Kate Beckinsale's smart. That's the only two Brits I can think of. Who's a smart American actor? Someone's not an idiot. I'm sure we got somebody.
I don't know.
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mel Gibson. We got.
He's not American though.
No.
He's moved there, but he's originally from Australia. No one can top that. Even if that's the only one.
Well, okay.
Noah's
To be honest, we can't really judge this, because a lot of the actors pretend to have left-wing positions to advance in the industry, and so you only get the rejects admit to being conservative and actually having concise, well thought out
we
positions.
We got conservatives. Woody Harrelson, Chris Pratt. Selena Gomez is not an actor. Well, yeah, she did Wizards or whatever. She was like pro-Palestine at least. I don't know. I don't know enough about Hollywood. I just don't care.
Yeah. Do you want me to publish this replay once we're done on Odysee? Yes, because it's already on Rumble and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of announced it, the Atwood thing in 4 hours.
Are you going to announce it as a stream?
I am going to like simulcast it if I can.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Oh, well, that
or at least like record my screen or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. is a conservative.
I should not simulcast. I should
You should record it yourself.
My screen, but
yeah.
I should allow him to have all the stuff on his Patreon and whatever, and then a few days later release it or something.
Yeah, you're kind of. It's kind of like. Hello, Aziz. You got something to say?
Yeah.
Okay, speak
I
up.
was thinking about Denzel Washington, maybe. He was smart.
Who is this?
Denzel Washington, maybe. He's smart actor.
Oh, Denzel? Denzel Washington. Yeah, he's not dumb. But he did that whole thing of how there should be a Jewish producer for a Jewish movie, Italian producer for an Italian movie, and then he's black and plays Macbeth.
Oh.
Yeah. He walked that back.
That's fun. That's
Denzel, Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman, that's my guy. Even
last week I was actually watching your older streams and stumbled upon USS Liberty stuff, and I was reading about it. I was shocked. First time actually.
You first time you heard about that? Wow.
Yeah. First time, because I'm not familiar with the close American history. So I was shocked. So how can United States military and government, uh, I don't know how,
Right.
absorb that much information and not to consider them as aggressors or
Well, can
saboteurs?
you imagine if that had happened, like if Iran or,
Yeah,
well, Matt, look at this, Vietnam. The Gulf of Tonkin
I,
never happened. Nobody actually fired at our ships in the Gulf of Tonkin, yet we invaded Vietnam and killed 2 million people anyway. So that was the same year.
yeah.
Tale of two ships.
I can't imagine
One
even
kills
United States
Americans.
own military like
Yeah. Oh yes. Our own
doing that
intelligence
stuff,
ship gets
doing that,
shot up.
jamming
Hmm.
He
jamming
killed his
their
own
own.
president.
Lusitania, USS Maine. Uh, but here we have a foreign state attacked a U.S. ship and murdered 35 Americans. Psychological damage to the rest of them. They couldn't sink the ship though. Used unmarked planes. Like it's clear as fucking day what was going
It
on.
was jamming was really best thing you can have as a uh, you can have it in your hands like if someone interfere your uh, special frequency, it should be known as allies doing that. So which ally they
Yeah,
have,
well, it had a
you only.
giant American flag on the ship. And the pilot, we have the signal intelligence. One of the pilots said, "Are you sure, sir? This is an American ship." And his, what do you call it, captain or whatever, he said, "I don't care, do it anyway." Like they knew it had been identified. They fired on the lifeboats, which is a war crime.
Oh,
Didn't matter. Yeah.
that was big shock for me. Like how US can still absorb that.
Well,
That
do you know
only.
about the SS Patria? They killed
No.
55 British sailors. They fired on a British boat, blew it up, killed 55 British sailors, and put over 1,200 people in the water. Some 824 people in total died, mostly Jews. These were Zionists killing other Jews who were on a British ship leaving Palestine to go to Mauritius. They did not want any Jews to leave because they wanted to create a Jewish state. So
Yeah, that's
they attacked
their
themselves.
policy. It's
Hmm.
that their policy. They even they trying to bring back
Yeah,
Ukrainian Jews. They only
oh
took
yes.
66 so far.
Well, the Operation Magic Carpet, there's incidences where they were bombing synagogues and Jewish targets in Iran
Pepsi.
and other places to force them to flee to Israel. But
Yeah.
nobody was after them. It was Jews attacking other Jews to blame it on Arabs and be like, yo, look, you're not safe there. You better come to Israel. And it's disgusting.
Yes.
Ryan,
Oh,
are you
That,
following
that's
Google?
thanks. Thanks.
Am I,
No problem.
am I following what?
Are you following Google News?
No, what's that?
Yeah, Google News had a pop-up just now. President Biden is in the hospital because he choked on an ice cream he stole from a little girl while sniffing her hair.
Haha, funny.
I want to
April
believe it.
Fools.
I want to believe it's real. I want to believe it's real. I want to believe it's real.
April Fool's
And when
Day,
you
mate.
just said once you just said he was in the hospital, I'm like, hooray, flags at half mast. But yeah,
Be
shit
honest, I
like
got your
that,
hopes up for like 30 seconds.
not that long, maybe a second or two. But I was like, no, 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 because I'm thinking I can't have Kamala in there. Like he can't go to the hospital. I don't want Joe Biden to die because that means we'd have President Harris. Think about that.
Yeah, yeah, but there was a prophecy said by an American president. I don't want to be wrong, but I think it was Ford, Gerald Ford, who said the first woman president will be the first
World War
woman
Three.
president will be because of a man who was incapacitated. that they evoked the 25th Amendment.
Well,
I think it was Gerald Ford who was was before Jimmy Carter. Was it Ford?
Ford. Mhm.
Yeah, I think
That's
it was
Ford.
him.
That's
He said
Ford.
I think he said, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was him. He said, because somebody asked him in the audience, when is going to be the first female president? And he said, yeah, that's going to happen after they evoke the 25th Amendment because the president died or got sick or something. So it would be funny if, not funny, because I don't want her as well, but would be interesting if that prophecy would fulfill itself.
Well, Kamala is an empty vessel. There is no substance in her. She is just a vapid, know-nothing politician. Joe Biden at least
There's a lot of
knows.
substance in her.
Well, a lot of
Honor.
okay. Well, Joe Biden at least knows foreign policy, and that has been his wheelhouse when he's not giving the credit card companies insane legislation that they can use to squeeze the American populace for more money. But foreign policy has been his wheelhouse.
But they didn't have any foreign policy debates during the presidential debates for an election.
Yeah,
The
but
most important government position in the world.
yeah, but apparently that exchange of MiGs to Ukraine that got a veto from Joe Biden. It went all the way to his desk, and then he said, "Nope."
Well,
I think that's
what I was. That's what I thought was so crazy. Our Congress is like, yeah, no fly zone, or let's send them F-16s to backlog their MiGs. They thought that was a good idea. Unreal.
Well, in Poland's defense, exchanging your MiGs for F-16s is like getting a Mercedes in exchange for a Lada. That's a European joke. Most Europeans will know what a Lada is.
Got it, Varg. Don't worry, I got that one.
Yeah.
It's like getting a Mercedes in exchange for almost anything else.
For a 1996 Honda Civic without functioning headlights. Well, I read about the MiGs too. Like the amount of red tape you have to go through to get spare parts for those planes makes them almost entirely useless because they can't get the parts, and it takes like a year to get the export license, the import license, and get Russia's approval.
Well, if it had gone through.
Yeah, well, Russia wouldn't have approved.
There'd be spare parts all over Ukraine.
Well, yes. That's yeah. You would call them flying scrap metal.
Mm-hmm.
Future scrap metal.
Did you see the skeleton thing they found on Mars?
What?
Totally changed the subject. But they found like bone, like this weird thing. Looks like a giant person with like the head is huge though. Like it's weird, but it had like legs, arms, sort of like a rib cage type of thing. They found it in Mars. And they took a sample of it, whatever it is. Looked like an animal or bones or something from something inside a ravine, like in the cliff. And this is not Alex Jones. Like, this is from NASA.
I found the image and the post, and my first instinct was to think you were doing a April Fool's, but I will post it in chat.
It's real.
Apparently, it is.
It's a weird thing.
Real.
Yeah. That's my swerve. It seemed like an April Fool's, but my son, one of my kids, is really into planets and stuff. So I was like, oh, let me show you do you know there's a planet entirely inhabited by robots? That's pretty metal. And there's like, what, 5 or 6 robots and a helicopter on Mars, and that's it. And I wanted to show him the landings and stuff, and then I just found out that, oh shit, we found a skeleton of something, or possibly could be just be like the rocks form that way at a very low percentile, but it's possible.
Do you
But no, we don't know.
do you want to watch an Alex Stein video?
I will later. I'm going to bed because I got to
Oh,
do
okay,
Atwood
okay.
thing.
We're getting it. Okay, we've been streaming for 1 hour and 54 minutes. So,
We'll just cut it. Sorry, Alex Stein. He's coming on Horseman later, though.
yeah, that's why I thought I might hype up his appearance, but okay.
Well, next one.
Yeah.
We'll open with it next time. See
Oh,
y'all
oh no,
in-
no, wait. We have another super chat from 12 pack.
Oh, gotta read that.
Okay, $5. Hey Ryan, I'm reading the book on Nathan Bedford Forrest you recommended. It's great read. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's the last super
Yeah.
chat. So we are done. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. See you all later.
Peace.